thank you all for being here. We've got a great turnout today. I promise to keep my remarks short because all I am is the MC and the facilitator here, and Jonathan's given me a schedule, and so I have to make sure that we stay on this schedule. I can tell you already we're 10 minutes behind, so I'm not a good timekeeper. I should have told Jonathan that. First thing I'd like to do is acknowledge a long list of distinguished guests that we have here today at this event. I'd ask that you hold your applause to the end because it's a pretty long list. But the folks that we'd like to acknowledge are State Representative Robin Gable, State Representative Daniel Biss, both new state representatives. Our alder, our council, our entire council, by the way, is here, and this is sort of a first that we've had the entire City Council of Evanston here. So we'd like to acknowledge first Ward Council member Judy Fisk, Second Ward, soon-to-be Judge Lionel Jean-Baptiste. Woohoo! Melissa Wynn from the 3rd Ward, Don Wilson from the 4th Ward, Dolores Holmes from the 5th Ward, way back there, Mark Tendam from the 6th Ward, and you'll notice we've got all our elected officials in different spots this time, not sitting at one table, so that's terrific for everybody to get a chance to know one another. Jane Grover, my council member from the 7th Ward, is here. Ann Rainey from the 8th Ward, and Colleen Burris from the 9th Ward. Thank you all for coming. We'd also like to acknowledge the Township Supervisor, Patricia Vance, the City Clerk, Rodney Green, the City Manager, Wally Bobkowitz, District 65 Board Member, Keith Terry, District 202 Board Member, Gretchen Livingston, District 65 School Superintendent, Hardy Murphy, District 202 School Superintendent, Eric Witherspoon, the Honorable former Mayor, Lorraine Morton, and the Honorable former Mayor, Jay Lytle, who by the way, when I came in and I ran to Jonathan Perman and said, Jonathan, how many times have we had this event? And he said, geez, you know, I'm not really sure. You'd have to go find Jay Lytle. So I found Jay Lytle, and I said, Jay, how long have we had this event? And he said, well, it actually started in 1977 when I was mayor. And it's something, I know we all talk about things being special about Evanston. There's a lot of special things about Evanston. But having a state of the city addressed by the mayor is a pretty special thing. So thank you, Jay, for initiating this back then. And then in 1979, he initiated the Arts Award. So the second part of this program today. I'd also like to acknowledge the General Secretary of the Rotary International, Ed Fuda. And finally, Northwestern's President, Morty Shapiro. Thank you all, and thank you everybody else for coming. I'd next like to introduce J.P. Gallagher, the president of Evanston Hospital. I've been to the hospital many times. I have two young kids. I have been nothing but impressed by the hospital, and I've been nothing but impressed by the executive staff of the hospital as well. So with that, J.P. Gallagher.
Thank you, Steve. North Shore is very proud to serve as the sponsor for this important gathering of leaders in the Evanston community. But I also want to congratulate Jonathan Perlman on his 19 years of service to the Evanston Chamber. He's done a tremendous job connecting businesses, representing and advancing business interests, and contributing to the vitality of downtown. So Jonathan, I just want to say thank you and best of luck. Now, I've been in my current role for 3 years now, and while I can be a little slow on the uptake, which my team will be happy to attest to, I've figured out that when you help pay for the lunch, you get to make some comments. But nobody really cares what you have to say. So I will be brief, since I know I'm the only thing in between the mayor and the granting of the awards. But I would like to take a couple of minutes to highlight a few things about Evanston Hospital and North Shore University Health System and our role in the community. At North Shore, we are proud of the role we play in providing medical care to over 420,000 patients in the past year. And in the process of doing that, we provided over $196 million in community benefits. But we also recognize that we're much more than just those figures. We appreciate the important role the hospital plays in contributing to the civic and economic vitality of the city of Evanston. North Shore is the second largest employer in Evanston with 4,000 employees and over 800 of whom live in the city as well as work here. Evanston Hospital, as a result, serves as an important economic engine for jobs and is a vital provider of healthcare services in the community. Now, one of the highlights of my job is that in spending time across our campus, I get to interact with our employees on a regular basis and see just how they make the care that we provide to our patients real. And there's just an incredible amount of dedication. And I can't think of a better example of that than 3 weeks ago in the midst of the blizzard when we saw that come to life. And so I'd just like to share with you a little bit of what that experience felt like in the hospital. With the advent of the storm upon us going into Tuesday evening, we knew conditions were going to be pretty difficult. And as a healthcare institution, taking a break and shutting down is not an option. And so we had many employees who made plans. They packed a bag. They came in on Tuesday with the expectation of staying over. We had over 100 employees who boarded at the hospital, sleeping in shifts, so that we could get through the next 36 hours without disruption. We had other employees who walked several miles through the snow to get to work. We had others who had vehicles who could weather the storm and went out and picked up their colleagues to get them back to the hospital. And all of this was so that we could provide care to our patients without any change. And as we walked the halls of the hospital that day, whether that was in the emergency department, whether that was looking at how our nurses were taking care of the premature infants in our NICU, doing surgery in the OR, or taking care of our inpatients up on the floor, there was just a tremendous amount of enthusiasm and pride. And while it proved to be an uneventful day in what our patients experienced, it was a moment that we realized just how much that dedication means to this community. Now, looking to the future, we at North Shore are no strangers to change. And with healthcare reform now a reality, we believe we are well positioned to adapt and provide outstanding clinical care that is accessible and cost-effective. We've worked hard over the last several years using our electronic medical record system and our integrated healthcare delivery system to demonstrate high-quality outcomes with our physicians and hospitals in ways that can be easily measured. Now, to this end, I'm pleased to share that just last week, all 4 of our North Shore hospitals were recognized among the top 50 hospitals in the country by Healthgrades, a national healthcare consumer rating agency. And what this essentially means is that they're recognized for our clinical outcomes. And our patients who come have better clinical outcomes that are statistically significant and have lower risks of complications and infections that they might otherwise encounter elsewhere. So going forward, we will continue to use technology with our people and our processes to improve the services that are available to you all in our community. Now, we're also a very important community partner, and we recognize the relationships we have with many of you in this room are vital. And to that end, we take that role very seriously. Whether it's advancing the healthcare needs of our community through our partnership in supporting the Health Center at Evanston Township High School, which is now in its 15th year of existence, or it's the role that our outpatient department and our child and adolescent center and our dental center plays in providing as the medical home for over 10,000 patients who don't have insurance, we recognize that those are vital resources that need to be continued. And looking ahead, we also look forward to working in partnership with the city and our colleagues at Resurrection Healthcare and our partners at Erie Family Health Centers to move forward with a planned federally qualified health center application that will further enhance the availability of services to those who need it most in this community. So, in closing, I simply want to say, recognize Mayor Tisdahl and all of our elected officials who are here today, who continue to work on our collective behalves. As we all know, there are tough decisions ahead. It's a challenging environment, but it is certainly good to know that we have people who are as dedicated and looking to make decisions for the right reasons on our behalf. So thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the program.
JP, thank you very much for 15 years of a school-based health center that provides free care to every adolescent at ETHS, and thank you for all the help you're giving us, which is invaluable on the federally qualified health center application. It's very much appreciated. Now, many of you have seen the New York Times January 22nd article entitled, "Mayors See No End to Hard Choices for Cities, Including Bankruptcy." Well, the first part of that's right, but forget about the bankruptcy part. That is not happening here. What I want to talk with you today about is what is happening here, how we are handling tough economic times. It's a balancing act. We are trying not to increase taxes so much that residents and businesses have to leave. We are at the same time trying to provide enough services to make sure that everyone wants to stay here. Evanston is blessed with a city council that can make hard choices. A year ago, we cut $9.5 million from the budget. This year's budget has cuts totaling $3.5 million. While I am worried about budget deficits at the state and federal level, which will impact our revenues, I remind you that we have a AAA bond rating from both Fitch and Moody's. We have many assets that are going to help us through tough times. I will name a few. A talented city staff that includes a dynamic economic development team, a host of volunteers, proximity to Lake Michigan, a great university, and I gather that town-gown relations will be even better if I mention that Morty Shapiro is taller than he looks. A savvy business community, 2 excellent hospitals, wonderful citizens, and extraordinary county, state, and federal representatives. We need to make good use of all our assets, and we will. Doing more with less is a popular phrase, but it actually happened on our streets during the recent blizzard. Our Public Works Department did a better than ever job of snow removal. Plow drivers worked double shifts dealing with 20 inches of snow that fell in 24 hours, sometimes at the rate of 2 inches per hour. Our Director of Public Works, Suzette Robinson, did not sleep for days. The best way I can thank them all is to tell you what happened during my ride-along on a snowplow. The driver, Alvin, had been working for 12 straight hours. We were cleaning side streets when we came upon a dead-end street with cars parked on both sides. I'm wondering, is he going to try it or not? Well, Alvin turned down the dead-end street where 2 women were shoveling a driveway. At the sight of the plow, one of them started to dance. Alvin and I are cracking up and we're backing up, which is not a good combination. And I was holding my breath and calculating the cost to the city if we sideswiped any cars, which we did not. Then we headed back down the dead-end street to clean it up some more. And when the dancer saw us, she danced again. So Suzette, I know you are here somewhere. Please know that she danced in part for all the snow removal efforts, and telling her story is my way to thank everyone who helped with snow removal. Now, I know if Lorraine Morton was giving this speech, she'd replicate the dance, but that's not going to happen. So, Suzette, please stand up and let us thank you for everything you did. It is fitting and sad that I'm here discussing the state of the city as the South Branch Library closes. The Friends of the Library did a wonderful job keeping both branches open for as long as they could and planned to open an outpost to replace the South Branch. At least that was the latest information I got. The Volunteer Library Board is creating a plan to increase the equitable distribution of library services throughout the entire community. The South Branch Library is a victim of bad economic times, a substandard facility, and our attempts to do more with less. One of our assets in town is a dynamic economic development team. One of their goals is to help create and retain jobs within the city. Jobs are part of what is going to get us through, all of us, through this lousy recession. While the economic development staff is actively working on potential recruitments of new businesses, they recognize that most of the economic development activities in any given city involve the expansion of existing businesses. Two of our recent notable successes in business expansions include Ward Manufacturing and Converged Communication Systems, two very different companies representing critical pieces of our diverse business community. An established manufacturing company and an expanding startup business. Both businesses considered expanding in Evanston as well as relocating their operations out of the city. Our economic development team worked hard to convince both companies to stay. The results are in. Ward Manufacturing is here to stay, keeping 43 jobs here and adding 6 to 12 more. Converged Communication System finalized their purchase of property within Evanston, keeping 30 employees here and adding 20 more. Score 2 for our economic development team. I am proud to announce that on March 1st, 2011, the city will open a new 311 center. The goal is to fundamentally improve the customer service experience by providing more efficient and effective services, enhancing staff accountability and responsiveness, and improving the accessibility of city services and information to our constituents. Remember, dial 311. So what do you do when you don't have enough money to pay for all the services people want to have? First, cuts. Second, economic development. And third, as the Beatles song says, I get by with a little help from my friends. The song needs a rewrite. We get by with a lot of help from our friends. And who are those friends? First, all the volunteers and all the about to become volunteers in the city of Evanston. The city has a new position, a volunteer coordinator, Shanice Jackson. People have complained that there are not enough volunteer opportunities at the city, and that is about to change. Another friend, Cook County Commissioner Larry Suffredin, called to say that Cook County Board President Tony Preckwinkle wanted to come to Evanston and ask us what she could do to help. That is not how it works. She's elected, and then I am supposed to call her to ask for an appointment, which I may or may not get, to come and tell her what Evanston needs. Instead, 5 days after being sworn in, she appeared in Evanston to ask what we needed. Believe me, we gave her plenty of suggestions. There are some people here today who are examples of what I mean by a city getting by with lots of help from our friends. Most of you know about the Citizens Police Academy run by the Evanston Police Department. For graduates, there's further training available. They can join the Citizens Emergency Response Team. On July 3rd, around 11 p.m., the city manager called me to say that there was a fire at the YMCA. About 70 of our most vulnerable residents were being evacuated. Wally picked me up and we headed for the Y. The fire was contained by the Evanston Fire Department, the excellent Evanston Fire Department. And I should make it clear, since I think the Y is here, that this was a ComEd fire, no fault of the YMCA. Hi, guys. Bill Geiger and the Y staff and board members were all there working hard to take care of the residents. After thanking the fire department, I went to the residents and asked how they were doing and got a clear, uniform answer. They were hungry. Bill Geiger produced bananas. Wally and Bob Dornicker came up with Gatorade. I got junk food. When everyone arrived at the Robert Crown Center to spend the night, we had a snack put together. My friend, Marilyn Ruiz, who's over at my table was at the Crown Center working as a CERT volunteer. She not only had the names of each resident, but she had their medical histories, and these are our most fragile people. Marilyn and a doctor determined who got what snack based on greatest need for Bill's Bananas or Wally's Gatorade. I said, Marilyn, how did you know to take medical histories? She looked at me, surprised by the question, and said, Liz, I am trained. Clearly, I am not. So here's what Marilyn wrote when I asked her for the names of the other volunteers. Thank you for your support, and it was good to see the support of the city manager and Alderman Jean-Baptiste and Alderman Rainey at Crown Community Center. I cannot tell you how fulfilling it is to be a member of CERT in Evanston. The program was tough and the national exams tougher, though it is all worthwhile when being called out during an emergency. I cannot say enough about Fire Division Chief Tom Janetsky, the CERT program, and my volunteer colleagues. As you requested, the members who responded on Saturday, July 3rd were Mike Perlman, Kim Sutker, Chris Ernst, David Blatt, and myself. Evanston has amazing volunteers, and we're going to make a lot of use of them. Thank you, Marilyn. It's time for an update on what we are doing with the $18,150,000 that our Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky and Senator Richard Durbin helped us receive. The money is meant to stabilize neighborhoods that have been hardest hit by foreclosures and abandoned property. To date, we have 59 sites under our control. Homes could be ready for move-in by spring or summer of this year. NSP 2 is designed to help families that have to spend a disproportionate share of their income to have a decent place to live. It is perfect for Evanston as we struggle to remain a diverse community. Of almost $1 million in awarded construction subcontracts and pre-development costs, 69% has gone to minority women Evanston business enterprise, and 49% to businesses whose owners are low income or have a significant percentage of low income workers in compliance with the federal Section 3 program. In addition, approximately 26 non-construction jobs are expected to be created or retained throughout the program. Thus far, approximately half have gone to Evanston residents and almost 40% to minorities and businesses. With the rehabilitation of 100 housing units averaging approximately 15 workers per unit, there will be multiple opportunities for local residents to find employment. And what should employers be doing? Now listen up. This is a great opportunity for you. This housing is an opportunity for many of your employees to live in Evanston. This reduces employee commutes, stress, absenteeism, and turnover. Reducing commutes reduces transportation costs and emissions. Please consider an employee-assisted housing program. You may qualify for the Illinois Affordable Housing Tax Credit Program. Go to the city's website or contact Jolene Saul. Pensions are in the news. We have raised taxes to cover the increasing costs of police and fire pensions, and we will be forced to do that again and again until our state legislature agrees upon meaningful pension reform. When I talk about pension reform, and I do that a lot, it does not, absolutely not, include an attack on collective bargaining. The current system is a train wreck heading at us all, and we will keep going back to Springfield until it is changed. We owe our policemen and firemen pensions, we want to pay them, and we will. Now, Evanston and Northwestern had two town gown moments I want to highlight this year. Dale Mortensen, a Northwestern professor and a 30-plus year Evanston resident, won the Nobel Prize for Economics. Dale and Bev came to a city council meeting. I gave him the keys to the city. The council and everyone there gave him a standing ovation, and we gave him a 15-minute party. That's the best we can do on a council meeting night, even for the Nobel Prize. But the cake for Dale came from the Jewel, and they put a picture, you know how they do those pictures for birthdays of the birthday child? Well, they did a picture of the Nobel medal on the cake, so I think that made up for the 15 minutes. Dale and Bev are a class act for Northwestern University and for the city of Evanston. Now, NU and Evanston have not solved all our problems, but we are working at it. And here's a description of our problem-solving techniques. Hecky Powell and the Chamber both contacted me concerned that moving a football game to Wrigley meant less revenue for Evanston restaurants. Our clever city manager decided the best response would be to help NU increase attendance at the remaining games. We painted the town purple. The fountain in Fountain Square was purple. Fire hydrants around the stadium were painted purple, many by neighborhood children. Morty Shapiro, Coach Fitz, the team, the NU band, and the ETHS band came to a pep rally in our downtown. Tickets were half price for Evanston residents. Attendance is up 40%. The team won. The restaurants are happy, and everyone had a good time. Now, there are problems, and there will continue to be problems, but we're lucky to have Morty Shapiro at NU, taller than he looks, and because he's a great guy and because we are committed to working together to solve our problems. Now, I have to discuss crime in Evanston at any state of the city, and crime is two distinctly different stories. One is the story of a cutting-edge police force who received the 2010 Community Policing Award from the 20,000-member International Association of Chiefs of Police. And listen to this statistic. In the 1900 block of Jackson, police calls went from 1,100 to less than 100 in a similar period of time. Kudos to Officer Brian Rust, Mike Jones, and Tanya Noble, who are over there somewhere, I hope. And I would like to add that congratulations should be shared with Alderman Dolores Holmes, who helped them every step of the way. While crime continues, statistics do go down, 13% this year and 13% last year. But the number of homicides in 2010 was 6, 3 to 4 more than the 0 to 3 that I remember over the years that I've served on the council, and 6 more than our goal, which is 0. After each murder, I've gone door to door on the block where the murder occurred, talking with the residents about how to make neighborhoods safer. People are very welcoming, which I appreciate, but I have done this too many times. Often we talk about homicide as a tragedy for the victim's family, the perpetrator's family, and the perpetrator. But it is more. I've learned after Keith Tucker's murder that tragedy spreads to many more people. As I was leaving one home after Keith's murder, I asked a young boy who had listened to the entire conversation, he was maybe 8 years old, if there was anything he wanted to tell his mayor. And he said, lives on Church Street right across from the high school, he said, "I am afraid to go outside to play." Well, of course he was. I told him I would do everything I could to make it safer. We cannot have children in Evanston who are afraid to go outside and play. Saturday, April 9th is the tentative, I repeat, tentative date for the kickoff of a campaign against gun violence. Saving Our Sons, the city, Peaceable Cities, the Human Relations Commission, Family Focus, Youth Action Ministries, the YWCA, and many other local community groups are working together on this campaign. You will hear more from us. Please help. On the good news, we continue to make implementation of the Evanston Climate Action Plan a strategic priority with the goal of reducing the city's carbon footprint. Current data shows that the carbon footprint for the city's operation has decreased by 12%, but more work is needed. Estimates of current projects show a reduction of our community emissions by 5%, or the equivalent of removing 9,000 passenger cars from the road. Plans are being made to celebrate the 150th anniversary of Evanston's incorporation, our sesquicentennial, I pronounced it right, in 2013. On Saturday, March 26th, from noon to 2, everyone in Evanston is invited to a community rally at the Levy Center. The Evanston 150 Steering Committee, facilitating the process, is laying the groundwork to help us come up with the 10 best ideas for our future. I would like to thank the steering committee and look forward to hearing more from them. Evanston can handle tough economic times because of the terrific, talented people who live here. I would like to close with my favorite story of the year about teenagers. For incomprehensible reasons, the awful group who protests military funerals decided to come to Evanston and protest Jewish congregations' celebration of Rosh Hashanah. While I knew the Evanston Police Department would handle everything well, a constituent called and asked me to do something. I decided if the idea was to make people feel unwelcome to come worship in Evanston, I would go out and welcome them. That's how, on a lovely evening, I ended up saying Happy New Year to everyone who entered the parking lot across from ETHS where services were being held. The protesters were at Northwestern protesting services being held there. ETHS was next on their schedule. People were a bit surprised to have the mayor traversing the parking lot to wish them Happy New Year, but everyone was gracious. And a carload of teenagers arrived. I wished them Happy New Year, and they looked very startled and said, "We're not going to services." I said, "That's okay, Happy New Year anyway." So they all said Happy New Year to me, and then they ran across the street to congregate on the sidewalk with signs. And shortly after that, the Evanston Township High School Security Department called me over and told me the protesters were not coming. They were leaving town, defeated by the teenagers across the street. Apparently there were teenagers at each site, and they moved from site to site, to always have a good group to protest against the bad guy protesters. And at each of the locations, there were more good guy teenagers protesting the protesters than there were bad guy protesters. I hope that sentence made sense. But when they heard that that there would be no protest at the services at the high school, the kids were jumping up and down, cheering. And I walked over and congratulated them. And I drove home thinking, what's the state of a city where teenagers act like that? The future of Evanston looks pretty darn good to me. Thank you. Thank you. Now, Jonathan, would you please come up to my table right over there and find Lorraine?
Answer the live.
I was trying to think of an absolutely brilliant, scintillating speech that would honor Jonathan's 19 years of service, and I came up with one. I thought the simplest thing to do is let Lorraine have the mic.
Thank you so much. Now you all see why I wanted her to be there. Fantastic job. Well, now I would Jonathan asked me, please don't. He said, don't. There was a ceremony for him this morning. But Jonathan, I have to say one thing. You see, I knew Jonathan, and he wasn't too far out of diapers. And I have watched him grow. And when, what is it, 19 years old? Maybe more. That's it. Okay. And I knew from the very beginning, I knew that he was exceedingly bright. And with that, I knew a good future was ahead of him. And then when he took over the Chamber of Commerce, and I had been involved with the Chamber of Commerce with the previous director, Ira Goldman. He and I have been friends up until this very day. So I knew that what he had sat through so many meetings where the city had an affiliation with the chamber and a person on the committee, and I was on that committee. So I had an idea of what went on and what was required in the Chamber of Commerce. Well, realizing that, you know, he had a little bit of aggressiveness in him, you know, as a little guy, but that's all right. He's been a dear, dear, dear friend of mine, and I'm sure that friendship is also shared with Mayor Tisdahl. But more than that, I'll tell you what it did for me. He knew what I was writing because I talked to him about what I was going to say at this meeting. And I remember one time he said, Joe, he said, man, boy, said, don't use that word. What was that word? It has something to do with housing. He said, because that's not a good word. So I have to say he was not only an asset in helping to tell me things that I should know, but he was always a dear friend, and I never knew any time when he did not steer me in the right direction. Nor at a time when he did not share with me something that he thought that in my position I needed to know. So Jonathan, now you see that word right there? That's a long word. It's extraordinary. The City of Evanston Extraordinary Service Award. The mayor and members of the 78th City Council present this award to Jonathan Berman in honor of his 19 years of outstanding service as Executive Director of the Evanston Chamber of Commerce. Thank you.
Well, for once I'm speechless, but let me just say this. The best part of this honor is that I'm amongst people that are basically about my height. So you see, you really don't have to be that tall, as Maureen knows and you know. Obviously you're not that high. And Steve, too. So I really feel as though I'm around people that I'm comfortable with. But no, thank you very much. It's been an honor and a privilege to serve this community. And the things that we accomplished and the things that the organization could not have been accomplished without the extraordinary talent and the perseverance and the belief that all of you as members, as citizens, and volunteers have in this great, great community. So keep it up and thank you very much.
I should also mention that Ed Fuda will be leaving Rotary, and I am tired of announcing that people are leaving, so don't anybody else do it. But we will be honoring him later. And before we begin today's Mayor's Award for the Arts presentation, I'd like to thank artist Elizabeth Ockwell, who couldn't be here, a longtime resident artist at the Noyes Cultural Arts Center, who has generously donated the wonderful etchings that will be presented to today's Mayor's Award recipients. Where are, I hope someone, they're down here. All right, I better look at my program. That would probably help. Oh, I'm supposed to make some brief remarks. All right, here we go. The arts are important to Evanston, absolutely tremendously important to Evanston, as you can tell by the fact that we have 2 art centers in Evanston and that we have fabulous, talented artists. They are not only good for the soul, but the arts are good for the economy, so we like them for both reasons. And I would like to acknowledge Jeff Corey. Where are you, Jeff? There he is, where I can't see him. I would like Gary Geiger, where's Gary? Come here, Gary, to come up. And Gary is the head of the Evanston Children's Choir, which is a young and rapidly growing organization that is in residence at the Noyes Cultural Arts Center. Founded by Gary Geiger in 2002 with only 3 kids. The organization is now in its 9th year and is comprised of more than 100 singers from 35 schools divided into a junior choir, a main choir, and a concert choir. Their ever-expanding international repertoire of music includes songs in English, Spanish, French, Swahili, Hebrew, and Japanese, and includes some original works written by Evanstonians. The organization has performed in a host of venues, including the Rosemont Theater with Barry Manilow, the Alice Millar Chapel in Evanston, the Harris Theater in downtown Chicago with the Apollo Chorus. Evanston's Children's Choir has earned a solid reputation for its emphasis on multiculturalism, inclusion, and accessibility, positive energy, and musical excellence. No child is ever turned away because of money. With their sunny yellow t-shirts, the Evanston Children's Choir represents the best of Evanston and its youth with harmony and talent. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I've never given an acceptance speech before on behalf of an organization, or I would like to, on behalf of the entire Evanston Children's Choir organization, I want to thank Mayor Tisdahl and the Evanston Arts Council for this recognition of our work. We are truly grateful and honored. You guys are all so funny who are talking here. This is a hard act to follow. Anyways. And the mayor took away half of what I was going to say with that wonderful introduction. So, but before I say a word about the choir, actually, I wanted to echo something that the mayor mentioned. I believe that having a vibrant artistic community is one of the major attractions of Evanston. And it draws people and their economic activity to it. And indeed, that's one of the reasons I settled in Evanston after graduating from Northwestern University. My wife and I both bought a house here 5 years ago. The Noyes Cultural Arts Center has long been the hub of that vibrant activity, and I want to, especially since the entire City Council is here, I want to applaud the entire City Council and the Mayor for having the cultural vision and the fiscal insight of continuing to support the Noyes Center, so thank you very much. When I first got the idea to start the choir 9 years ago, I admit I didn't go about it with only noble altruistic intentions. I just thought it would be fun. So once I decided to start it, though, I quickly knew there were some principles I wanted to build it around, such as multiculturalism, inclusion, and accessibility, a culture of positive reinforcement and positive energy. But of course, the big question was, could I do this and have a group that's fiscally sound and that achieves musical excellence and still be fun? The answer is I didn't know. I'm actually not somebody who believes that anyone can do anything that they try in life, but sometimes things don't work out, right? But I do believe that the only way to find out is to get behind something and push with all of your might. And that's what I did. And that first handful of parents who, one of those 3 sets of parents, actually one of them is here, Kevin McDaniel, right at our table there, they got behind me and believed in what we were trying to do. And after starting with just 3 kids in the fall of 2002, and after 4 months having just 4 or 5 kids and getting ready to throw in the towel, something kept us going. We all kept plugging away and spreading the word, and by the end of that season, we had 13 kids, and it just took off from there. Today, yes, we have over 100 kids. We just passed that threshold. We're so excited about that. In 35 area schools. I didn't even know there were 35 area schools, but the wonderful thing about that is it's not a cliquish kind of thing. You know, kids come from everywhere. They become friends. They meet each other, and it's a wonderful thing to see. Our kids reflect Evanston's ethnic diversity. We emphasize multiculturalism in what we sing. We learn music from all traditions and genres, multiple languages. We strive to be as accessible as possible. We always, not only do we never turn a child away because of money, but we offer our public self-produced concerts free of charge to the community. We will continue to do that, and we do free outreach concerts at schools and community centers in the area. We've also achieved a level of artistic achievement that has enabled us to sing with groups that I never thought possible when I first started at this short a time. The Apollo Chorus of Chicago, the Evanston Symphony, and even Mr. Barry Manilow. His people called us. I said, "You got the wrong number." But that was really a thrill for us. And yes, it's fun. It is still fun. We tried to get the kids here to sing for you guys today. They got school, you know that. We couldn't get enough of them out, but we really tried. We wanted to, it would have been a wonderful thing, so I thank all the people involved with trying. The best I can say is we have an open rehearsal policy. We do rehearse at the Noyes Cultural Arts Center, room 107. Go online and check out our website. Just Google Evanston Children's Choir, will come right up. You're welcome anytime. Just step in the room, open rehearsal, observe, and you won't leave without a smile on your face. I want to close by saying that this award is certainly an acknowledgement of the efforts of everyone who's ever been a part of the Evanston Children's Choir, that first handful of kids and parents, and all the enthusiastic singers and families who have joined over the past 9 years, our outstanding staff, interns and volunteers, our devoted board of directors. And I want to give a special thanks to the Musical Offering. They actually won this award 2 years ago. They gave us a place to rehearse when we just started and had no money. They said, "Don't worry about it, just build your thing." So thank you to them. I want to express my deep gratitude to all the friendly businesses and individuals out there in the Evanston area and beyond who really saw what we were trying to build in the early stages, believed in us enough to get behind us, and continue to support our growth. I promise that we will honor and support, we will honor that support, and by continuing to make the Evanston Children's Choir something we can all be proud of. Thank you very much.
Bill Campbell, come on up. Evanstonian Bill Campbell is known to many. Woo! Evanstonian Bill Campbell is known to many as the longtime host of Chicagoing, a weekly WLS-TV, ABC Channel 7 program that showcased the rich culture and history of the Chicago metropolitan area. A 3-time Emmy Award winner, Campbell's career at ABC 7 spanned more than 3 decades, during which time he launched Campbell Quest, an executive and life coaching, consulting and public speaking company. He serves on the board of directors of the Evanston Community Foundation and the Greater Chicago Food Depository. He's also served as the honorary chair and master of ceremonies at the Evanston Ethnic Arts Festival for 12 years, bringing his trademark enthusiasm to this beloved community arts program. His commitment to local and regional cultural vibrancy is a shining model for our town, and we look forward to his continued leadership and involvement in the Evanston arts and media communities. Bill has put positive things on TV when everybody else was putting on negative, easy sensationalist stuff. Bill has fought that tide and been a winner for a long, long time, and we are just incredibly proud that you're an Evanstonian. Congratulations, Bill. All right, take it away, Penny. Oh, I'm done.
Thank you, Mayor Tisdahl. I'm Jill Brazel. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here as we present the 2010 Arts and Business Committee Leadership Award. The Arts and Business Committee of the Evanston Arts Council is co-chaired by Council Member Penny Rothizer and Business Leader Paul Giddings. The intention of this committee is to connect our business leaders with the individual artists and arts organizations in our community. Our many programs increase awareness, support and showcase our local talent while bringing excitement and new business to Evanston. This committee is responsible for such successful programs as Art Under Glass, which beautifies storefronts in downtown Evanston with local artists' work, as well as last year's inaugural standing room only Backstage Evanston, which gave the public a sneak peek at many of our amazing performing arts organizations' upcoming seasons. On behalf of the Evanston Arts Council, I would like to thank Mayor Tisdahl and the Chamber for supporting this award today. I'll now turn it over to Penny to present our Leadership Award. Thank you.
Thank you, Jill. You know, the mayor, I just want to take a second. The mayor talked about how important the volunteers are now, and I just want to say thank you to the Evanston Arts Council volunteers and the Arts and Business Committee seated over here at this table. They're the ones putting on all of these programs, Art Under Glass and Backstage Evanston and everything. They work very hard, so thank you. Well, First Bank is the fourth recipient of this award, the previous being Whole Foods Market and Romano Brothers and Company and Jim Nash from Farnsworth Hill, who started the Art Under Glass program with us. As Jill said, this award honors the Evanston-based businesses that have shown extraordinary support for the arts in Evanston, whether it's financial or in-kind services, whatever the arts need, they've stepped up in some way. And First Bank truly fits the bill. They've stepped up and helped over 15 arts organizations in so many different ways in the past year. And you've likely seen the gorgeous photos of the Evanston Dance Ensemble in the bank's windows on Church Street, or maybe the concerts that they've sponsored, or ads and program books. And they've been behind the scenes for organizations that have needed some extra help. Evanston Symphony Orchestra, Music Institute, the Musical Offering, Yay, the Art Center, Mitchell Museum, the Lakeside Singers, just to name a few. First Bank is known for its strong sense of community. Founders Howard Kane, Jay Lytle, and Robert Yohannan have made that a tradition in the bank. And in keeping with our tradition of having a local artist design the award, this year's award was created by an Evanston metalsmith and jewelry designer, Nancy Sickbert Wheeler. She's sitting right over here. And here's the award that she designed, which is heavy, and I hope I can lift it. It's beautiful. Thank you. Nancy teaches at the Evanston Arts Center, and they suggested that we contact her, and she stepped up, and I thank you so much. And I just want to tell you that, you know, Paul Giddings normally comes up here and tells something funny about the awardee, and Paul couldn't be here today, and I said, so give me a funny story about Howard that I can, and he said, I've got lots of them, and you can't use any of them. You can't share them with the audience. So on that note, it is my very great pleasure to honor First Bank and Howard Kane, one of the managing partners of the bank.
I promise less than 3 minutes, and then everybody is almost free to go. Steve's going to say something. On behalf of all of us at First Bank and Trust, I'm extremely pleased to accept the Leadership Award from the Arts and Business Committee All of us who have served on various boards, attended artistic and arts-related functions over the years, have truly enjoyed the experiences. To be recognized and rewarded for this is really appreciated. When Bob Yohannan, Jay Lytle, and I were looking for the best place to open a bank, it's almost 17 years ago, we quickly realized that Evanston offered the true sense of community in which a bank such as we envisioned could thrive. The abundance of opportunities in the arts was and still is an extremely important element in the fabric of our community. I'm happy to be able to say that we've had involvement in arts activities throughout the bank, from tellers to the managing directors, all throughout the bank. Support for the art comes in many forms. You really should come by and see the dance ensemble photographs in the window. They're truly spectacular. On a personal note, I'd like to thank Joan Yohannan, who coordinates all of the giving to the arts as well as to other nonprofits in the organization, in the community, and she does a superb job of that. Once again, thanks to the Arts and Business Committee for this award and to the Evanston community for our success. Thank you.
I'm going to turn the mic over to Bill Campbell to give him a couple minutes just to make a few remarks, and then we'll wrap this whole thing up. Bill.
Well, in keeping with the theme of our luncheon today, I'm going to keep my remarks short. I am just really honored to be here to call the city of Evanston home with my wife Angie and our 5-year-old kindergarten student William, and to have had the honor over the past 12 years to serve as the honorary chair and MC of the Evanston Ethnic Arts Festival. What I will say about that event, the first time I went there, I had an experience that I'd never had in my life before. There in Dawes Park, right on the lakefront, people of every variety of human being possible on planet Earth, bringing artwork that we share as a humanity together. The feeling that I had was absolutely astounding. There was peace, there was joy, there was creativity, there was love, there was honor. And to have had the opportunity to share that with our audience at ABC 7 over the past 12 years, for me, was something that led my general manager to say, gee, Bill, you know, you've been on the air with Chicagoan for 21 years. The longest event that you've ever had on has been the Evanston Ethnic Arts Festival. And I said, because it truly is reflective of what I believe in, is being positive on purpose. I'm so glad to be here. I'm done. Thank you.
7 years ago, my wife and I went through this long search about where we were going to live, and obviously we made the right choice. I'm so proud to live in this city that has a wonderful arts community, that has a State of the City address, and that has such active people, including everyone in this room. So with that, I'd like to thank all the hosts today who helped put this event on. I'd like to thank the Hilton Orrington for putting this on, and thank all of you for coming. The meeting is adjourned.